I'm author Ed Morrell. I'm running for re-election for the position of Clerk of Criminal District Court.
Mr. Morrell, thank you for being here. On behalf of NewOrleansBlack.com and NewOrleansFirst.com and 60,000 viewers, we appreciate you taking time. We have known of you. We certainly know that you currently hold a position in the city. But tell us who Arthur Morrell is. So go back to the childhood. Who is he and what's got him to where he is today?
Well, Arthur was one of 8 children.
All right.
My mother was a homemaker. She never worked outside the house. My father was a seaman. I graduated from George Washington Carver Senior High School in 1961.
All right.
I went into the military. I was in Special Forces up until 1996. Came out, went to undergraduate school on a GI Bill. Graduated from SUNO in 1970.
Okay.
Started working for an airline, Eastern Airlines, and I got interested in law, so I applied to all the law schools in New Orleans. And the first one that sent a letter of acceptance was Southern in Baton Rouge. All right. So I went to Southern University Law School in Baton Rouge. Upon graduating from there, I didn't start practicing right away because while in law school I started a company, a construction company, and it was doing pretty good. But my wife told me after a while, what are you going to do? You're going to continue construction or are you going to start practicing law? So I decided to start practicing law. So after practicing for a couple of years, I got interested in politics. I ran for House of Representative and won by 56 votes.
Ooh.
Beat a
So
guy.
every vote counts.
Every vote counts. Every vote.
All right.
I beat a guy who was a friend of mine. I didn't have any intention of running against him, but it just happened that way.
Still friends?
Well, he's dead now, but we remain
Okay.
friends.
Wonderful.
And I was in legislature for 23.5 years. I ran for this position, which I'm running for re-election, Clerk of Criminal District Court. And I won that position in 2006, and I'm here running for re-election.
Okay, wonderful. Well, all the incumbents I ask them, one of the advantages of an incumbent is that they already know the system. Talk to us about why re-electing you is important. What are the projects you're working on that if somebody else came in new, it would be hard to pick up? What's those things you want to carry across the finish line?
When I assumed this office, the clerk's office was not very organized. It was really behind times, I should say, because a lot of stuff was done manually. As far as computers and modern type of technology, it didn't really exist.
Okay.
I had some knowledge about technology. I brought in a couple of people and we started changing things. So far we're doing fine. Presently, we've gotten grants and money from other organizations to where we're completely upgrading our office.
Good.
The company that's starting to renovate our office told me it's going to be easier than most companies to renovate because we have no infrastructure. You don't have to tear out very much, so you just put in new stuff. What we're doing now is having our office to be able to communicate with the sheriff, the police, the district attorney, and the courts. Right now we're all on our separate systems. So with the infrastructure we can communicate with each other. And that's one of my biggest achievements right now. But in the office itself, we've done some things to make the office more friendly.
Okay.
The criminal court was the only court in the state that didn't have what's called an intake desk. Prior to us initiating this, if an attorney wanted to file a document, they'd have to go to the individual court and file a document.
Okay.
Well, some courts ended their docket early. If an attorney came in and said 3 o'clock and the court's not operating, he couldn't file his document. So we have an intake desk now that's there to receive all motions, documents, pleadings, or what have you. In addition to that, the evidence room was devastated.
Oh yeah, we all read about that. Yeah.
And we had remediation come in, and we were able to save 90% of what was damaged.
Really?
About 5% was completely destroyed. But we've changed the system of handling evidence. We don't keep evidence down on the ground in the basement. All the evidence is elevated right now, but because of that, we have to find a larger space.
Gotcha.
And FEMA and the city is in the process of having an architect and engineer come in to build a building adjacent to the criminal court where the clerk's office can be located, because we have to have evidence,
Right.
records, and property stored there. And our first floor would be 14 feet off the ground, so any possibility of flooding or hurricane, we won't have that to
So we
worry
learned from that already.
And the reason why we want it there, because of security.
I got you.
That close to the court, attached to the court, you have automatically the criminal sheriff be able to handle security.
That's smart.
And
Now-
we're barcoding our evidence.
Okay.
That's to keep a tight rein on the evidence and where it's located.
Very good. Let's talk about in your position, you have the opportunity to, you talked earlier about hiring IT firms, hiring people to do work. One of the things our audience cares a lot about, this diverse audience, is inclusion and opportunities around economic development and how you work with minority businesses and local businesses. Talk a little bit to that. What's your philosophy on the inclusion of local and minority firms in the work that you hire out?
Well, when letting out bids for work, we submit the bids to anyone who's qualified, anyone who asks us.
Okay.
And we look at the results and see which one could do the job. It's not always the one that has the highest bid or the lowest. You have to look at the qualifications, whether or not that company can satisfy what we want.
Okay.
And we do use that as a criteria for narrowing down who we want to handle the contract.
Do you follow the DBE 35% rule, or is that, how does that work in your office?
No, we don't, but what we do use is the list that the city has
Okay.
of those
The
who are
DBE
involved.
list?
Yes.
Okay.
So we use that list to let out contracts.
Good.
Or let out advertising for RFPs.
Wonderful, because that's really important for our group. Talk about one of the single largest initiatives that you believe you're implementing, and you've already kind of hit on a couple, but that you think directly affect the diverse community. Is there anything that you're doing, whether it's from an outreach perspective or something you're doing in-house, that benefits the diverse community?
Well, we want to have an office that can cater to various groups, various types of people for communication. Like we were looking for someone Hispanic to be able to communicate.
Right.
We were looking for someone Oriental, Vietnamese to be able to communicate. We have blacks, white, Spanish. We even have a Taiwanese person working for us.
Very good.
So we look for someone who can help. And diversity is important because the community is constantly changing. We like to have someone there who would be able to easily communicate with someone.
That's important. Yeah, and that sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about Facebook. Gave us a couple of questions. So I want to ask one. This is from Butchie Beverly. It says, what is your priority and plan of our dying infrastructure? What's something that you think, and it sounds like you're already all over this one. Talk to your office and how you're helping with the infrastructure.
Well, at my office, we're helping because we started from ground zero and building with the most modern type of facilities, IT information available. Plus, we have the person who's over the Supreme Court, Louisiana Supreme Court's IT program is supervising the work that goes on.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
theirs right now is the most modern. So we anticipate, because of a comment he made, when he finished, ours will be the most sophisticated and most modern in the state.
That's incredible. Well, we appreciate your time for this interview, and I'll give you the last 30 seconds to say hello to our audience one more time and remind them to vote for you.
Thank you for having me here. Anyone can always call my office if they want to ask any questions about what we're doing. Again, my name is Arthur Morrell. I'm running for re-election for the Clerk of Criminal District Court, and my number is the Lucky 9. Remember, who's number 9 with the Saints? So you can't misunderstand. Vote 9, and you will give me a vote. Thank you.